Hello and welcome everybody to the third chapter of the first book of Daughter of Alba. Today we're playing Toiseach Lag, which means week beginning. It's morning and you are still in bed and somebody wakes you tapping your shoulder.
Just opening one eye.
Yeah, because the other one's bandaged. It's Siobhan. That's not a big surprise, and she's holding something that looks like more like a pouch in a way. And she says, "This is an ice bag. Put it on your eye. It should help with the swelling."
Thank you. I'll grab it and carefully place it on my eye.
And she says, "You can still stay in bed because I'm just finishing to get breakfast ready. And then once you've had breakfast, we'll take a look at that eye of yours."
Okay.
So she does what she does. It's porridge, you can see, but she's putting in a lot of honey into at least your portion. And then it takes her about, she is taking her time. There is tea. Also, she wants you to have enough time to work on the swelling. And then after about 20 minutes or so, she comes back. Well, she doesn't have to walk far, obviously, but she motions to you saying that breakfast is now ready.
I will join her. I will keep the bag on my eye.
Well, I mean, now it's like yesterday. Although she did heal you. She gave you spiritual healing from her goddess. So, in game terms, all of your life points have been restored. But the problem is, you have a really sore back from carrying the guy. You feel fatigued. You are tired. It's now the adrenaline has completely washed away. So you are just, well, you've been in a really epic fight. The food is okay. And then she says, "Okay, now it's time." And she asks you to tilt back your head.
I will do so.
And she removes the bandage really slowly.
Mm-hmm.
And then she says, "Can you try and open your eye for me?"
Well, I will try. Not sure.
So basically, you can't see it, but it is still swollen. But you can see that you feel that you can actually now move it again. So it opens up, but you don't see anything in your right eye.
Mm-hmm.
She looks at you, and she moves around a little bit with her head. "I'm so sorry."
But you didn't do anything. You're just helping. You don't have to be sorry.
"It didn't work. You can't see, can you?"
No, I can't. But I'm here, I'm breathing, and I'm alive. That's the only important thing. I still have my arms, I still have my legs. Well, my back is a bit achy, my head is on my shoulders. I can still talk, as you hear. Sorry, that will not go away. And I can still hear very well. And I have one eye. I can see you. It's not that I'm blind and I can't see anything at all.
No, but I think this is permanent. Just wait a second. And she goes away and she comes back with a polished piece of brass.
Mm-hmm.
And she holds it in front of you. And you can actually see that your right eye is kind of grey.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the iris and the pupil are now kind of grey.
Yeah.
You can also see that there is a scar. There's a wound which she managed to close, but now you have a scar that basically runs across your eye, and it is still swollen, and you're bruised. So the bruising is still there.
Well, the bruising will slowly fade away, and then I will look bad as intimidating.
Yes, you will.
I'm a pirate now. At least that's kind of how I imagined pirates from the story that I heard.
Yeah, but they usually wear a patch.
Well, that is something we can work on. Although I'm not sure if I want to be honest.
I mean, to be quite honest, when you and I go traveling, you looking like this, I will never have to be afraid. You will
True.
scare everyone.
Yeah, you just need to stay on the horse. That will be your only task.
Yes, that will be my only task.
Really?
You're taking this very well.
Well, I had a night to sleep over it. And that's the price I had to pay to keep everyone else alive. I'm fine with that. I'm thankful I can still look. I can still see things. Hunting with a bow will need some training. But maybe I will get better with time. Everything else should be fine. I can still hit things with my sword because I know where they are. It will be at arm's length, so...
She smiles and she is relieved, as opposed to yesterday when she was kind of, not in a very good way and not in a good mood. She is now quite relieved, in spite of the fact that, she has had to give you this really bad news. But she basically, well, as you said, the gods take and the gods give.
Yep.
So, what are your plans for today? I understand you wanted to take the furs into the village.
Well, it depends on if you say it will be bad for me to move a lot, then I will take another day of break. If not, I would like to bring the furs into town, and maybe you can...
Well, how do you feel in general?
I just wanted to answer hit by a truck, but no, that is not true because they don't have trucks.
Hit by an ox cart?
Hit by an ox cart, but mainly I think it's just the muscles being quite sore over the fight. It will go away when I start moving. But
I've got something for you.
Okay.
And she gets up.
Mm-hmm.
She goes to where she keeps her medication and her stuff, and she comes back with a little kind of like jar, and she says, "This is ointment that you put on your muscles. It'll heat them up."
Okay.
Turn around.
I will turn around.
Okay, so basically she needs to get to your shoulders, and then she hesitates and she says, "The last time I touched your sigil, it hurt quite badly."
Well, the sigil itself will live without the ointment. Mainly it's the shoulders itself. Mm-hmm. If you could help there, I think that would be just fine.
So she basically, and it smells it smells of lavender.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually quite pleasant. And boy, does that burn. Not the sigil, but actually you feel like your shoulders are heating up. As she basically she rubs it in, and you can feel that it's actually getting really, really warm. And then she says, "This is something that comes from very far away, across the water. Really, it's they call it hili."
Okay.
Yeah. I once got it in my eye. It wasn't pretty.
The way it burns, yes, I don't want it anywhere near my eye.
So what you should do is you should just give it half an hour.
Okay.
Really keep warm, put a blanket over.
Then let's do that. I will just pull a blanket and just sit near the fire, and we'll just wait for it to slowly...
And she gives you more tea, and she says, and after that, if you feel up to it, you can walk around, but I would suggest you don't carry the furs, but you put them on Stodham.
That's not a problem. The question is, do you want to join me? Is there anything you want to do?
Well, we could go together and I could pick up Percy.
That might be a good idea. Also, I'm not sure. Should we maybe check on...
We should stop by Seamus anyway.
Yeah, to see if everyone is okay.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking about you teaching the kids and me sitting in the middle of them, either with just one eye and a patch or just Not sure that will be helpful then.
Well, I guess for the first 10 minutes, people will look at you and the children will be very excited. So you really need to tell them what happened.
Okay.
You're a good storyteller.
I don't think so. I'm just telling what happened. But, well,
Go on.
kids love every kind of adventure, I guess. At least I did when I was smaller.
And I'm pretty sure Yoan will love your eye.
He will. For sure. The only thing I need to make sure that he doesn't think it's that cool that he wants that himself.
Well,
Well,
then maybe you can take him to target practice with you.
we can try. Let's see. I'm not sure if he wants to be honest.
Well,
Asking is not hurting.
no, I think he actually adores you.
He should you should find neighbors that are less noisy. Or not a problem, that's how it is.
Yeah.
And let's see. We need to figure out a way how the kid can find friends in his age.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
happy to hang around with him, but it's not healthy that I'm the only contact person next to his parents.
I agree. But I think maybe the fact that he goes to school will change things because now, he will meet with people regularly. He comes in and, and maybe as soon as spring comes around, yeah, we can see about. I mean, I suppose you could take them all fishing.
We can do that if the parents allow it. Although honestly,
You
yes.
can do that.
Well,
I
the
will just
parents
be
will
watching.
be happy to have the kids off their hands, probably.
Absolutely.
Maybe. We will see. We will see. Okay.
Is it feeling any better? The half hour has passed.
A bit.
Yeah.
It's getting bearable, and the rest will go away.
Yeah.
Over time.
So you'll get something else. You'll get some more tonight.
Let's see just tonight if I need more, if it's fine. Because if it's coming from somewhere else, you should be just careful when to use it and when not. There will be
That's what I
probably
used to
other
think.
times.
That's what I used to think until I realized, you've got the things, you have to use them. That's what the goddess tells us.
Well, you have me around. I'm quite sure it will be used in the future.
That is also true.
We will see how I feel this evening when we get back home.
And she gets up and she basically then gets ready. She takes a couple of things in her bag because, she's going to stop by. She's also going to go and visit her expecting mothers just to be sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then, she says, I'll put the furs on Studham.
I will help.
No, you won't.
It's just...
You won't. Trust me. Of the two of us, who's the boss of you? Indeed. This time round, you do what I tell you, because I'm the healer here. If this was a fight, I would listen to you.
Understood.
Good. We'll just use the bridle, right? He doesn't need a saddle. You're going to walk.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically that's not going to take her very long because just putting on the bridle isn't going to take very long, the halter and stuff, and then she's going to put on the furs. That's also not going to take very long. Having said this, she can't reach them. We put them in the rafters. She comes back. I may need your help after all.
Let's just do this together. I promise I will be careful and not do too much. And I will go outside with her and get the furs one by
and
one.
Laugh silently.
Carefully.
Mm-hmm.
And then bit by bit bring them over to Storm. So usually I would just grab all of them, but now I'm just doing it bit by bit, rather walking more back and forth, but carrying less.
Mm-hmm.
And
so you killed 6.
Yeah.
The 7th got away. How many are you taking? Are you keeping any for yourself?
I'm just unsure if it will be just 1 or if I will keep 2. I think I will only keep one. And the other
Okay.
5 I will take to the village, because there are a lot of people that have probably higher usage of that than we are.
Okay, so you put everything on Storm. She helps you with this. She leads the horse. And you walk into town, into the village. And of course, people see you. They greet Siobhan enthusiastically as always. They look at you and you can tell that, it is a sight that is unusual. And I suppose not only do you look very different as a person now, it's not pretty, because with the bruising and everything, it's just not pretty. You have a very ugly face today.
Yep.
And people of course they know what happened because word has gotten round, but people try and pull themselves together.
I would just friendly greet everyone, or just say good morning or good day.
People greet you back, but it's kind of like hesitant. But when they realize that you seem to be in a really okay mood, good mood, the mood in general lightens.
Good. Then at least, do we want together go together to Seamus first and see, because the guys should definitely get at least one of the pelts, because oh boy, did they fight for them.
Yeah, so you go to Seamus's house, and you knock on the door.
Yep.
And his wife opens, Rena.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm sorry. Do come inside. Oh, you brought the sister, and she smiles at Siobhan.
How is he holding up?
Good. I mean, he's tired. He's bruised. And then she looks at you. Well, maybe not as much as you are.
Well, main point, we are all alive.
Yeah, and you can hear his voice from inside. Who's there, Rena? Who's there? And she says, it's the sister and Ashling. And he says, yeah, bring them in. And you can see him lying on his bed, on the bed. And he is in bad shape. I mean, he's in a lot worse shape than you were. Although his wounds aren't permanent, so he hasn't suffered permanent damage. It's just going to take longer for him. And he's trying to get up.
Don't bother. You need to heal up. I just brought by one of the pelts. I'll give everyone one of them, and the rest I will see who in the village need it.
And Siobhan sits down next to him. She kneels next to the bed, and she basically puts her hand on his forehead. She takes his hand, she takes his pulse, and she's basically giving him a little bit of an examination to see how he is doing. And she says, this is going to take some more days, but you will be fine. You will be fine. You just need to take rest, and you need to listen to your wife. And when she tells you to stay in bed, you should stay in bed. And Rena basically says, yes, and he was talking about going out fishing tomorrow. Can you please tell him not to do that? And Siobhan takes a deep breath. She rises to all her 161 centimeters and says, this is just not on. You cannot actually go outside and fish in your state. You have to stay. The goddess will not stand for this, nor will I. And you want me to include you in my prayers, right?
The evil card.
The evil card. And he is, and he does shrink a little in his bed. I mean, he's a big man, and he shrinks a little in his bed, and he mumbles into his beard that, of course, you would not want to go against the goddess. And so he Yeah, and Rina beams at the two of you. And Siobhan is like, yeah, I don't know what they're always thinking. They always think that they can conquer the world.
Well, we have to try, don't we?
Well, Rina.
I will also turn to Rina. Where do you want me to put the pelt? Do you have any special place that you can... We cleaned it up at least and start to hang it out.
Well, I suppose in the rafters.
Okay.
And she basically points to the ceiling, and you can just put it up there.
Yeah, I will do so.
Okay, so then you say your goodbyes. Next stop would be Ranald, who also has Percy. You knock on the door. Ranald is still unmarried. He lives with his parents. So he actually opens himself. And he is very happy to see you and Siobhan, and he smiles at the both of you, and then he takes a good look. And yeah, he is quite shocked, actually.
I will just, with a smile, say, good morning. We just were at Seamus' place. He's slowly getting better. And oh, I brought you one of the pelts from the wolf. And I will turn around and just go to the horse and pick one of the pelts. I will not let him just... He can think about what you want to say. And then I will just hand out.
As you turn around, you can see that he's looking at Siobhan, and Siobhan actually just shakes her head. And he looks very, very earnest.
I hope you will have a good use for the pelt.
Yes.
Good.
Let me get the horse. And he basically takes the pelt, he puts it on the floor, walks out, closes the door behind him, gets the horse. Percy is very happy to see you. And he's looking at you expectantly. Did you bring apples?
I honestly did not think of that. I'm not sure if Siobhan did.
He is very disappointed in you. You can tell.
I will give him some scritches and we'll just whisper in his ear. We will have apples back home. I'm sorry, we forgot them.
Yeah, his ears basically hang sideways. And Siobhan says, well, you know what? You're spoiling him rotten. Percy, there may be days, there may be weeks that you will have to go without apples. It's not even the middle of the winter.
Don't scare him. We will make it work. He's a good one.
Yes. All right. So let's go and hand over the last of the pelts.
Yeah, let's go to Dougal and Ranald. Have a nice rest of the day.
And Ranald waves at you and says, yes, you too, and get well soon.
You take care as well. Quite sure you feel just as bruised as I am on backs and shoulders, right?
Yeah, he will not admit it, but he probably does. So you go back to Dougal, or you go to Dougal.
Yeah.
Dougal was the one that was least hurt of the four of you, and he is also, but he takes it a lot better. He just basically looks at it and looks at your eye, and he just pretends it's nothing. He is very happy about the pelt, and then he said, "Well, you did well. Without you, we would all be dead. But yeah, I guess you know that."
Honestly, without your help, I would be dead as well. So we all fought very, very well, and we all can be quite proud of us making it out in one piece.
Who would have thought that a pitchfork can be strength 90? I think not. A pitchfork can come in so handy.
The only weird thing is that they weren't scared of. Usually when you start hitting them, they run.
Well, maybe they were so desperate and so hungry.
Yeah,
And I mean,
maybe.
Seamus went down. They maybe thought that if they just kept at it, they would get us all.
Maybe, but we just sliced through one after the other. But hey.
Well, to me it seemed like an eternity. You are used to this kind of thing. I'm not.
It always feels like an eternity, I can tell you that.
So you're saying it doesn't get any easier?
No. And I think that's good. Because killing things, if it gets easy, that's not a good sign for yourself. That should never be easy.
And he looks at you and he says, I never thought of it that way, but that's a good point. It shouldn't be easy to take a life.
No. And we earned these pelts. We fought hard for them.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing one over.
Do you by any chance have any idea who else from the village could urgently need that? If not, we will just ask around and see. We just want to make sure that whoever is maybe freezing will have another pelt they can use.
Well, I suppose one of the widows could use one.
Then we will just walk by and see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If not, we can also ask Vari if she knows someone.
Yeah, Vari will probably know someone, of course. So you basically go to one of the widows, and she is her name's Ishbel, and she is very, very happy about the pelt. And she offers you tea, and she offers you biscuits, and asks you to step inside. And she looks at you and she says, well, you were never a beauty.
Well, thank you.
Well, I'm old. I'm allowed to say these things. Child, you were never a beauty.
That was never my goal. Beauty doesn't bring you far in a fight.
I suppose not.
We have the beauty here. She will nod over to Siobhan.
Siobhan kicks you.
I'm not flinching. I will not even move. It's my honest opinion. At least compared to me, that's an easy statement.
Qualifying it really easily. And Siobhan's like, well, yeah, I think we have to move on. Enjoy the pelt. And she pushes you out the door. And she says, remind me to never ever give her anything. That was really rude.
It was honest. She did not say I was ugly. That would have been rude.
You know, there is a difference between being brutally honest and not lying.
I can live with brutally honest.
I know you can.
Come on.
Go on. Let's deliver this last pelt of yours. Give it to Vari. She will find someone. How about you talk to Vari and I go and see to my mother's, and we will meet there in 1 hour.
Yeah. Do you need Percy, or do you want to? Okay, then I will take them as well.
You can take them both.
We will. Yeah. I will just.
Take them. You go to Vari's. Dougal is of course waiting for his big friend to arrive, and as you knock on the door, she opens. Oh, it's you again. Yeah. Oh my, you've changed. Do step inside. And Dougal, of course, puts his paws on you, and is very
scratch his fur and just
come on, boy. He slobbers your face. He doesn't really care what you look like. They see with their hearts, as they say. And she says, do sit down. And where's your little friend? Where's the sister?
With the ones who will have the children.
Oh, the expecting ladies. Yes, of course. What happened to you?
Well, I will hold up the fur of the wolf. Well, we were out fighting the wolves that got closer to the village. And, well, we made it out alive. They didn't. So, one pelt for you if you like, or if you know anyone else who needs it urgently. And, but one of the wolves got to me, also to one of two of... But everyone is alive and fine, so that's the most important part. So Seamus, Ranald, and Dougal were amazing at fighting those beasts. I was honestly quite surprised. You have fighters in this village, and not including me.
Well, I think it's all about who brings in the leadership, and it brings out the best in people. But can you still see in that eye?
Nah, but I have the other one who sees still everything.
That's gonna be a big change.
Well, life has changed.
And for someone so young to say these things, how about some tea?
I would love some tea. Do you want a special place where we put the pelt?
Oh well, hang it up, and then when it's completely cured and dried, we will just find someone to give it to.
Awesome.
I don't really need it myself, but I will keep it until such time as it's ready to go.
Good. I will hang up the pelt and I will just sit down in by now my usual place.
Mm-hmm. And she makes tea. She offers you biscuits this time. And Dougal curls up at your feet and she says, there was nothing she could do?
Well, she managed that it wasn't worse than what it was like this. She tried her best. And honestly, as I said, the gods took that as the payment that we four got out alive out of the insanity we had to face. And I will adapt. I can still see. It would be honestly hard if I would be blind completely, but I can still see everything. I'm just not maybe as quick to react if something comes from my now blind side. And shooting the bow might take some practice again to get to hit what I want to hit, but I can still walk around. I can find my way. I can still chop wood if I need to. Fine.
She smiles. And she says, well, I've noticed that you're the patient one of the two of you.
Not always.
You will probably find it easier to adapt because you have more patience to learn it.
I think I'm by now learned that situations change and it's not helping to think about how it was because it will not go back to how it was. You need to look forward and move on.
Yes. That includes ditching some of our traditions, doesn't it?
Well, only if it's really necessary. Traditions are important as well.
You never actually said why you came back.
No.
Fair enough. And she gives you more tea.
The question is, did you hear something? I'm waiting for the day where the story comes around why we left.
Well, people do talk. There was this man who delivered a message to you.
Yeah.
He may have stayed a while. He may have told me why he was sent.
Let's say it did not go as planned. Not at all, to be honest.
You were the designated heiress.
I was, but wrongly, so it was not my place to be there. As it was not the place of my father to be where he was before he died.
But he ruled for a very long time, didn't he?
He did. And he did a good job, not to be unfair. He was a good ruler, generally, but the way he got to his place was the worst way ever.
And you rejected the whole thing.
I had to.
There you go, ditching traditions.
I think honesty is quite important. And if someone got to lead a whole clan without deserving it, it's not about to step in the same footsteps.
And there she is. You see how she looks into the distance, and I mean she is very old, and she has lots and lots and lots and lots of wrinkles. And when she smiles, she looks almost like a very shriveled apple. And she breaks into this smile, and it's almost it's a wistful smile. It's not a happy smile. And she says, "There are so many who have so much that is ill-gotten, and have not the strength or the will to reject it, but take it anyway. That is a rare gift that you have, to put honesty above other things."
The weird thing is, I was brought up like that by my father. So, in a way, I'm honoring what I learned from him. Even though I'm quite sure he will not see it like that. At least it did not sound like it. But, well, I had to adapt as a child quickly that my mother is not there. And I learned a lot as well when we came here first. Because here I learned it's not important what kind of title you have. You need to work hard to survive. And it's always paying out to help the people around you and be there for them. And I honestly think that was the lesson my father wanted me to have. So I think it all worked out like it was planned to, weirdly enough. And I have my peace with that. I only hope that everyone back at home found their peace in a way with it as well.
And what about the sister? She's not of your clan. She's of no clan, really. Why did she come back?
Because she's simply my best friend. It's her own choice, and honestly, she likes it here.
And there she smiles a really happy smile.
And the people here are quite in use of a good sister. And I guess she's at least the best we have far away around here. So.
Well, she's one of a kind.
Yes. As we both are, I think. But also she has a good heart and she will help wherever she can.
And then she gets up and she goes to... Well, I suppose everybody has like a place where they keep their keepsakes.
Yeah.
And she comes back with... was machen wir da?
Oh
God. And she comes back with a little ski and do, which is the kind of it's a Scottish dagger. That isn't that big. It's today used more like an ornament, but back then it was obviously something that they would put into their sock. And it's got a really beautifully crafted handle. You think it's probably from a deer's antler. And she says, "This was my husband's. I have no use for it. And I think you should have it." And she hands it to you. "Keep it well. It may serve you well one day."
Are you sure you want to part with it?
"My dear, I'm going to part this world sooner than you think."
I hope not, because the people here need you as well, but thank you in the trust in me. I will take very good care of it and will honor it.
That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking. He was a good man. Stupid. He got trampled by a bull, but he was a good man.
Well, even good people can be stupid sometimes. I have
Isn't
a
that the truth?
long list of that.
And then she says, well then, I will not ask you to chop any wood today because I'm pretty sure that that sister of yours will probably kill me if I ask you to exert yourself today. But
in 1 or 2
next time you
days,
have
when I'm
time.
better, I will come around and do some chopping, and it will help around. No worries.
And basically, then you hear a knock on the door.
I will just jump up and will open the door and just peek.
It's Siobhan. She says, "Are you ready to go? Because I'm done."
Oh wow. I'll just turn around. Are anything else you would need now? Like, do you need some water or anything else?
No, I'm fine. I'm fine. Believe it or not, Sean Ork has been around and he's been helping me with the water.
Maybe he knows he has to redeem himself a bit.
Maybe he does.
We will just enjoy that he's doing good things. Then, as I said, thank you first of all for the tea and the wonderful gift. And I will peek in 2 or 3 days, just looking at Siobhan carefully. And then we'll help you with the wood chopping.
She waves at you and she says, yeah, that is all in good time. Because at the word wood chopping, Siobhan begins to frown. And
See
she
you.
says, see you, Vardy, see you. And she steps outside behind you and she says, you are not chopping any wood for the next couple of days. Do you hear me?
We see from day to day, and when we both say I am fine, and you nod that I am fine, I will go and help her, because she for sure is not chopping any wood. And I also don't want her to freeze to death, so it's scary enough that she's giving out things because she says she will not be around for much longer.
She's been giving out things.
Well, only to me, but it sounded a bit like she doesn't plan to be around for long. Well, she's old, but...
Well, I can tell you that she seems fine.
Yes.
But still, we never know. The gods take quickly.
That's true.
What did she give you?
I'll pull out the knife and hand it over to her. It belonged to her husband.
Oh, wow. That is a really, really, really valuable gift.
Yes.
And she hands it back to you, of course, hilt first, very, very reverently, because, of course, this is something special, and she recognizes exactly what you've been given.
I will carefully put it away, and then I will grab both horses and start walking.
Well, I can lead Percy, it's okay.
I will hand Percy to her. I'm not fighting about that. So, why are you done here? What happened? How are they doing?
Oh, they're fine, they're fine.
Who did you meet?
No one.
I just told Vari that I'm honoring honesty.
She hangs her head.
I will just stop moving. I will just stand. Okay, we will stay here until you say something.
You can be quite a bother.
I can also go back chopping wood if you like. Come on. Right. I will start moving again and we'll just pat her on the shoulder.
Yeah, I will tell you when we're at home, okay?
Okay. I'm fine with that.
I just want to leave.
We will go. And the only thing, I'm still a bit weirded out. His name was Sean, wasn't he?
Sean Ork, yeah.
Sean is helping Vari a bit. What is happening? Why is he trying to be a good person now? That is weird. But hey, seems like people can change.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Well.
Oh, better this way than he's getting like the angry dumbass he was before.
We will see. I mean, as long as he isn't doing anything weird, and as long as he stays away from the alcohol, I understand that he seems to be a reasonable guy.
It seems like at the moment he has everything together. Maybe having the daughter around was kind of stress for him.
Maybe he's lonely.
That might also be an option. But, well, Mari can use some help, so I'm quite sure.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I mean, she is getting on.
And if he starts to be nasty to her, believe me, he will not survive that. She will bite his head off.
Yes, yeah, I can imagine. And I think a lot of people would have something to say if he ever laid a finger on her.
Also, while we're walking, I will just briefly tell her that Vari knows at least a bit of our home or my home situation, that she knows why we went back, and that I just kind of in little bits told her that there were reasons why I could not take over the lead. I did not tell her any details about this or anything else. I generally just said that my father, yes, he was a good leader, but it was not his place to take it, and I was just too honest to take the wrong place again. She knows a lot for her not coming really outside of the village.
I think she's a good listener.
She is. I really enjoy to talk to her.
You should do that more often.
Oh, I kind of am.
Good.
And then we'll probably just walk.
Yeah, she is quiet. She isn't really into a lot of conversation. As you get home, you know, you look after the horses. She pulls out 2 apples. She hands one each to each horse.
She's standing a bit there, like tempted to stop her and just thinking in her mind, we can just give each a half of an apple. That would stay longer and we could still feed them apples. But after, especially Percy being out, let's just stick with that. And
so do you say this, or
no,
do you...
she's so if
Thinking.
Siobhan would be looking, she would see that I'm like starting, but then decide not to say anything, and I will just help to settle the horses that they're back home and cozy.
Mm-hmm. She is very absent-minded. She basically does what you need to do to the horses. She knows now how to deal with them. She feeds them the apples, and she seems to be kind of a little bit, you know, this expression, miles away.
Mm-hmm.
And then she goes into the house.
I will just follow her. And not sure what is she doing inside?
She has sat down in front of the fire and she's just looking at the fire. She's basically stoked it a little. She's put some peat on it, and she's just looking at it.
I will grab some water and a kettle or a pot, and we'll set up some hot water for tea.
Mm-hmm.
And I will just sit down next to her, and I will not say a single word. And we'll just wait.
And after a while, basically the water boils. You make tea. And she takes the cup. She doesn't look away from the fire. And she says, I prayed. And the goddess did not respond.
doesn't sound good. Maybe
I feel very weak.
Maybe she was just far away, busy with something. Not sure how it works with them.
They are never far away, they're always around us. Yes, I did exert myself yesterday. Yes, I know, but I've never felt like this before. I feel very, very weak.
Then it seems like we both deserve a few days of just resting. Putting our feet up, drinking tea.
She didn't respond. Last night, and again not today. What if I've lost her?
You will never lose her. You two are like this. You're just tired. Because you put a lot of energy in saving our stupid butts. You need rest. The much rest I need for my body, you need it for your feeling and all the healing. I will say power. I know you would not say it like that. We both need to recharge in a different way. She's definitely out there. And she's just waiting for you to be strong enough to get through to her again. Have you ever healed that much and this worst case of wounds?
No. I didn't. That was Sister Breda. Mother Breda, I should say. I mean, I have maybe called upon her twice before last night. Twice. In 13 years.
Quite sure this is, as I said, you have some kind of power or energy that links you to your goddess that we others don't have. And it can't be an unlimited resource. You need to recharge it the same way we need to recharge fighting energy. Because honestly, I highly doubt you have slept much the last 2 nights. You look tired as hell. You look almost worse as I am, which is not a good sign.
At least I have 2 eyes.
Yeah, you still look deadly tired. So as much as you're telling me I need rest, I'm telling you, you need rest as well. So we will share the few things we need to do to blankly survive and eat and drink. And the only other thing that we might be doing is just to have a nice walk out in the snow. Just to enjoy nature and having some movement, and then we'll go back home and just be lazy. Read a thing. I can start training to read.
I like that.
And let's have just a few days of relaxing. And when we both feel better, quite sure everything will be back to normal.
If she doesn't come back, I have nothing.
Well, you will always have me, as bad as it is, but you will not get rid of me. You have always your personality. You calm people, and you know a lot of healing things that has nothing to do with the goddess. And as I said, your goddess will not leave you because you have done nothing wrong. Nothing.
It's funny that you are telling me these things and you make me feel better. It's supposed to be the other way around. I'm supposed to tell you about the gods and make you feel better.
Well, that's the good thing. You told us enough about the gods that we believe in exactly what I'm telling you back. Sometimes you just need to hear it again.
Yeah. Maybe I just do.
I'm sure it will be fine.
I
The
was not
gods are
prepared
not
for this.
leaving.
If there was ever a war, I would be terrible.
No, you would help the people even if you don't know it, just by being you. You can just give hope by talking to people.
I hope you're right.
I know I am right. I've seen it. Back home and here, over and over.
But the two of them are fine. There won't be any, well, there will probably not be any problems with the babies.
See? And you
Yes.
just being there, having a look, will help and calm them.
Yeah, well, maybe we should just, I don't know, get something to eat.
Let's do that. Let's do. Just mix a bit what
Yes.
we have.
We have rabbit. We ate the last of the fish.
I'm fine with rabbit as well.
Yeah, and I mean, the stew is basically self-cooking, as it were. She just puts it into a pot, and she puts in some. She also gives you an apple, and she also has one herself. We can't just leave all of them for the horses, can we?
No, and maybe we should, just looking at what we have, half the rations they get, they can share one apple. They will still have apple, but at least we can keep it going longer, because you're right, we will not get through winter if they get a full apple every day.
Yeah, you're right. Yes, you're absolutely right.
They will be happy.
Because you can't hunt apples.
Sadly, that would be a nice, interesting thing. Although apples running away from me sounds like a very weird scenario, so no,
That is true. Can you just imagine them on their little feet running away from
bouncing
you?
off?
Bouncing off, indeed, when you're trying to just get them off the tree, and then they just go. And so basically, I'm planning on having the next school day in 4 days' time.
Then you have something to prepare, and
will you let me practice on you, like
yes,
you promised?
Definitely. And I would honestly also like if we are both taking the rest day. At least I don't need to rest my brain, because that is the only thing that is not hurt by all of this. I can try.
And she knocks you lightly on the head.
It's still there.
It's still there, and it's
this
still
thing
tough
is
as nails.
Stubborn and is not breaking.
No.
I will try some reading. I know I'm horrible at it, but I guess also their practice will help.
Yeah. How about you just read something to me?
We can try.
You will be fine. It's going to be difficult in the beginning. Every beginning is weak.
Then we will see.
Okay, so basically you wait for the food. Do you want to go for a walk today, or do you just want to take the day off, basically?
I would say the rest of the day off, because it must be afternoon by now.
Yeah, it is.
And it was more for the next days that we really have. The only routine is have breakfast, maybe then go for a little walk, then have lunch, taking care of the horses, obviously, then doing some reading, some doing, and just relaxing and trying to get sleep.
Okay, so on that first day, then basically what she does is she takes out her wax tablets and she starts actually preparing words to teach, some of the letters, and she shows them to you, and basically you go through some more of the consonants, and yeah, and then she picks another story to read to the kids as a kind of like a, once the lesson is over, that they get something to relax. So she chooses another story. And then, there is evening meal, there's dinner, and then she does go to bed quite early. She does pray. And you notice that she is trying to keep it together. But she's not doing well. She is really anxious at this stage that, she is getting some form of sign of whatever shape or form this will take, a portent maybe. And then she goes to sleep.
I'll probably be awake for a bit to see if she's really sleeping.
You can, let's see if she is really sleeping, because you can't see it actually.
No, I would just see if I can, just the breathing, that it gets calmer.
Yeah, she is not really breathing calmly. I mean, it's, like how they then basically start breathing really regularly. It's not like that. She's trying not to toss and turn because she knows that you would definitely hear this. But she is definitely not really sleeping.
I think Aisling would just, in a low, calm voice, but loud enough that she can hear it, would just start to tell a story, whatever comes to her head, and would just probably something she heard as a child, or just pulling something out, and will just calmly tell the story and talk. And we'll see if that will help to distract her enough to fall asleep.
It actually does. So it takes a while, so 20 minutes, but she does calm down, and then she does fall asleep after a while.
Good.
And she seems to be sleeping quite soundly, so it's like shallow, regular breathing. And and then of course, it's a long night again because it's still winter, so sun doesn't come up until 8. She does wake a little bit before sunrise, but not as early as she normally would. And she stretches.
Would there be any way that I would be up before her? I would still anyhow would start or would really go to sleep after she falls asleep. I will not be awake for long.
It's not a problem. Yeah.
But
you have the ability to wake up pretty much when you want to.
Then I would make sure to be awake a little bit before her, because I at least want to already start the water and start with the tea.
She stretches and she sits up, she stretches, and she sees you and she says, "Well, you're up early."
How did you sleep?
In the beginning, not really good, but somebody told me a story and then I slept like a log.
Good.
It was a good story too. I told you you're a storyteller.
I'm not even sure who told me the story when I was a child, but it's...
Maybe your father did?
Maybe.
It was a beautiful story anyway, and it made me go to sleep. That's not a reflection on your storytelling ability.
Well,
you did not bore me to death.
It seemed to have taken your worries and your mind off for a while, because you can't sleep when your head is going in circles and worrying about things.
Yeah, I know. But it's like you said, maybe I just need time. Maybe I just need the time to regain my strength, like you need to regain your strength. Your strength is different than mine.
Yeah. And if your goddess is stupid enough to not want to communicate with you, we will find a way to kick her butt and make her understand that this is the most stupid idea of her. Because you don't have many good people around, and she should be really happy and blessed to have you as her spokesperson.
Well, I mean, you have face down demons. How about facing down a goddess? It's all the same thing, isn't it? And she jumps up out of bed, and she is, and you've really relaxed her. She's really smiling genuinely
Good.
now, and she says, "So what's for breakfast?"
Well, first of all, tea, and
very good.
And I can try to do something like porridge. We will see how it turns out.
Yes, do try.
I will try my best to make at least a decent porridge, and I will put honey in both of our
It
bowls.
tastes good. It's you are very. Oh yeah, well, on a 93 you didn't quite burn it, but it is quite well, you would say probably between the two of you she's the better cook.
Without, I just think I
But it
can
is
at least
fine.
prepare food to be able to eat
Yes.
it. I will
No,
not
it's
starve to death.
definitely it's definitely edible, more than that
Yeah.
even, but it's like, and and you have a lovely breakfast, and she says, well, so maybe we should just do go for that walk.
Yeah, what do you think? Even though it's kind of work, but not really, should we have a walk and just look out? I think we still have 1 or 2 snares out, and we can, if not, place 1 or 2 more.
Absolutely, I think we should, because we're running out of rabbit at this stage.
Yeah, and that is not too much work for both of us. And some fresh air will help.
Mm-hmm.
And in hopes that the weather is okay-ish. If it's horrible outside, then obviously not. But
It's sunny.
Yeah, then,
It's freezing cold, but you can always guard against the cold.
Yeah.
But it is sunny.
Yeah.
And there is no wind, which makes it really, really nice actually outside. What you do notice, however, is because of the sun, there is a lot of glare.
Mm-hmm.
And now you realize, looking over vast expanses of land, what it's like if you can't judge distances very well.
Mm-hmm.
And especially now that you are, I mean, in your house, because you know where
enough.
everything is. Yeah. But now you realize that, you notice, for example, that you trip sometimes because you just things. And one thing that is almost kind of a weird sensation is that you're walking towards a tree, for example, and then suddenly the tree is much closer than you thought it was going to be. So it's almost like it takes a jump towards you. How do you react to this? Do you say anything about this, or do you just quietly absorb it?
I will quietly absorb it and will try different things how to cope with it. So probably next to me jump, scare, stumble, Siobhan will definitely see that. But I will probably turn my head more around when I look. Usually you just go and the eye scan, but I will make sure that the head is moving more, that my eye has the better chance to see also everything. And I will
see if
just
she notices.
Figure it out. And I will just, everything I see along the way, even if it's small and farther away, I will try to just get a feeling on how far away it really is based on what I see. And we'll just use that as training, basically.
Do you try to touch things?
No, not outside, except the snares, probably, yes.
Okay.
And it might be that I will pick up some snow in front of me to hit Siobhan with a snowball. But snow in front of me, I will be able to grab because the snow is in front of me.
Yeah. You do grab the snow in front of you.
Hitting her with a snowball might be a problem if
It depends.
I try
She's walking right next to you. What you could do is you could do this.
Well, I think I would rather stuff it in her neck. I will not in the face, but just collar. In her collar, just walking next to her, just like.
I hate when you do that. You're so much taller. You know that I can't do that to you. And she's basically bending down. She gets snow and she tries to jump up behind you, which is.
We can see.
On a 23, she manages.
Oh. Squealing from my side and trying to just wiggle enough that
You're just such a devil.
Well, yes. Well,
yeah, that's why you got the sigil.
Yeah.
Because you're a prankster.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
God. Gods, why me? And but you both have a really good laugh, and she is a lot more cheerful now. She is very, she is really relaxed. And then you get to the first snare, So, in this case, you do have to make a roll, and I will give you a -3 to that roll because actually make that a -4,
Mm-hmm.
because we do need to see how you work on this now that you have one eye less. Well, I mean, at some point it'll sort itself out, but in the beginning, this is going to be a weak beginning.
Yeah. So let's see. -4?
Mm-hmm.
No. First one is a fail.
Okay. Of course you notice that it's a fail, and the problem is that when you do those loops and
Mm-hmm.
that you actually notice that this hand-eye coordination, you're not trying to thread a needle, but you realize if you were, you would not be able to do it. But even this is kind of hard. Do you keep trying, or do you say anything?
I will not say anything. I will just
Mm-hmm.
keep trying. There,
Mm-hmm.
her stubbornness comes in. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
can do this. Probably better with closed eyes. When she would probably in between just go through. Don't think about it. Just do it. You know how it's done.
Mm-hmm.
And well, Siobhan can think her own stuff about it.
Siobhan is she's trying to watch you without watching you.
Mm-hmm.
She has noticed. You can tell she's noticed, but she's trying to, be neutral about it. Try again. Give me another roll. -3. -4. Sorry.
That is a success. I
Very
rolled a
good.
17, so that's definitely enough.
That's definitely a
Because
success.
I have a +10, yeah.
Yeah. So you realize that this idea of actually closing your eyes entirely and trying to use your mind's eye seems to help.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one is fine. So basically, on your second try, you achieve this.
Good.
And she looks at you and she nods.
Well, it seems like we both need some training for setting up snares. Next one is yours.
All right. So you go to the next one.
The question is also, I'm not sure if we would have left any outside if we caught anything, or if we just set up new ones now.
You did.
Okay.
You did catch some, and there are so you did reset them when you got the stuff that you caught. In this one there wasn't anything, so you had to you redid it. Next one, let's see. Oh, very good on a 0-2. Even Siobhan is lucky enough. You get something in that snare, and then she says, "You really want me to do this?"
Yeah.
She fails. So basically how this works is she sets it up, but there's an error in it which she does not detect. So if somebody were to trip into it, it wouldn't work. And then you walk on to the next one.
Yep.
Let's see if there's anything in that one. Yep, there is.
Good.
You are lucky.
And I will try to set it up again.
-4.
Yeah. Barely made it.
Very well, barely.
It's good,
still
as long as that I have a high value in that, so even -4 gives me a chance to.
But it means it's a lot more to do with also mechanically being able to use your hands rather than necessarily looking at stuff.
It's probably also taking me ages compared to usual, like just seconds to have it set up.
But so you do one more, and she does one more. Let's see if she succeeds at least once. Yeah, she does. The second one is an 18 + 8, so that's 18 + 6. That's 20. Oh, she gets a point for that actually, because it's an 18. So she has 2 in this now, 2 practice points. And and then you can. What did you roll? Did you roll a 17? Did you say?
Yeah.
Then you get a practice point in that. So that's Oh, we realize that you can't note them down, but I can for some reason, which I really don't get. But hey,
I can note it down in my notes.
Which is interesting because you said you were making notes, and the funny thing is I can't see them.
That's weird.
That's yeah. So basically, that would be Seilkunst. So you get 1 for that one. And I've already got 1 for your Pflanzenkunde. You got 1 as well. Yeah. Oh no, I can. I'm stupid. I can see them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So basically, you made an X behind, and sorry, it was Naturkunde.
Yeah, it was an X.
Yeah.
I changed it for myself that
Yeah.
it was a 20 that I rolled.
Yeah.
Or it would be not a D20.
And then you got 1 for survival
20.
as well. You put it in there as well. Yeah. Yeah, I can see it now. So those are when it says remarks, this is what this is about.
Exactly.
Yeah. And yeah, essentially then you basically set them up. So we've got 4 out. And then we will see how lucky you are. One of them is a dud because she basically set it up wrongly without
That's fine. That's fine. We don't need an army of dead rabbits, to be honest.
No.
So.
Can you just imagine when they wake up?
Oh god.
An army of zombie rabbits. And and so you go for a walk. It is really a beautiful day. And you take your time.
Yeah.
And you also see a lot of birds as well, and there are crows. Obviously, they are trying to find food, and you can also see that closer to the lake, there is a heron standing, and it's managed to basically get through the ice somehow, and it's fishing. Quite a majestic sight, as it's standing on one leg, and you know. Yeah, and let's see if you are really lucky. No, you're not. And and then after about 2 hours or so, she says, shall we turn back?
Yeah, let's go back and do some studying after some food.
Yeah, so there's still stew left, so you have the rest of the stew. And then she says, okay, so do you want to try and read?
Yeah, let's give it a go. And afterwards we can do some more testing of what you want to teach the little ones.
So she hands you a book. And she says, try and read this one. And so you sit down.
I will first of all try to read the title. Which book is it?
It's a collection of stories and a collection of fairy tales and nursery rhymes. You open it, and on the frontispiece, now make a roll a d20 to see can you read it, because you do have reading in your native language, and I think it's a plus 12. It should be 12.
Let's see. Reading.
Well, it's just native language. Native language means you can read it.
Okay.
Writing is a separate skill which you don't have. But I was looking at your you have a 12 in there. Okay, so give it a roll, but at -4.
With minus. Wait. 12, 32. Oh, I rolled a d20. I'm just that was a weird way how to show it, but I had a 32 in the end, so I must have rolled a natural 20 because it was also critical success.
Oh, in that case, please make a note. And this was actually quite difficult, but for some reason very easy at the same time, because it's a dedication. It says, to my daughter Aisling, from her mother on her 5th birthday. And of course it's more difficult to read because it's in cursive writing.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Okay, let's try, and I will flip forward to the first story that is there, and will very slowly and very broken probably, try to start to get reading.
Mm-hmm. The story is called Three Billy Goats Gruff.
Okay.
Do you know the story in real life?
I think I do.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so basically, you start reading. Now we will see basically. Vari called it patience. You call it stubbornness.
Mm-hmm.
You are really stubborn. On a 30, you keep going.
As long as Siobhan is not giving up and be like,
No.
please stop this.
No.
She will fight her way at least through the pages and will just keep on going, because it's the same with fighting and learning new things. You have to really do it. And so far, she never really tried to be good at reading. That was never her goal.
Mm-hmm. How does Aisling learn best? Does Aisling take direction really well, or does she want to try, and only if she really can't continue will she ask for help? Or
Yeah,
how?
the second.
Mm-hmm.
The second.
Okay. Yeah. So we
So
assume
when she's really
yeah.
getting stuck and just can't figure out how the word is pronounced and what it means, she will know when she knows how to really pronounce it. She will ask Siobhan, but she will be easy enough to then ask. After she did her best to try it, she will then easily ask and just help. What's that?
So Siobhan is actually sitting back in her chair.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just listening. She is not even looking at the page. She's just looking at you.
Mm-hmm.
And so whenever you ask questions, she does help. And she takes notes on her tablet, on her wax tablet.
Okay, that is disturbing, but we will ignore that and just move on.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it takes you probably about 1.5 hours to read the whole story.
Quite sure.
And then she says, "That was well done. You are really, really, really patient. It stands you in good stead."
Ari already said, I'm patient. I'm not. I'm just stubborn. I'm not being beaten by a story. I can get through this, although it was really not the nicest to listen to, with all the gaps and thinking and retrying how the word should be generally.
It'll get easier over time.
So we will have to, or at least I have to, go through a lot of these stories. When it's too much for you, you are free to just stand up and leave. I know it's not the nicest way to listen to a story.
You know that as soon as there are books involved, I can be very patient too. I can't for the life of me understand how anyone will be sitting by a lake for hours, staring in front of them, waiting for fish to bite. It would drive me insane. But books?
Well, it's easy. It's just waiting, enjoying the nature, just having time to think about other things or nothing, which is also quite nice. And just wait for fish to bite.
My question for you: how do you manage to not think about anything? I would really like to be able to do this.
I don't know. I can just get into the zone of just letting go, and I still hear and feel my surroundings, but that's all I need, and my brain is just calm for a while.
I really admire your ability to reach that form of stillness.
Maybe that is something we can try to train with you, just sitting outside, because honestly, inside it's much harder. Outside in nature, I find it much easier, because you can just focus on small things like a bird cheeping or the movement in the water.
How about, weather permitting, we try this tomorrow?
Yeah, let's give it a go.
That was well done. And she looks and she shows you the tablet and she says, I wrote down some of the words that you found difficult because I think that the children might find them difficult as well.
At least I hope so. Doesn't show that I'm the dummy.
You're not stupid.
No, I was lazy as a child. That's basically what it was.
Yes, that kind of sums it up. That's what Mother Breeder was saying. You were the laziest she ever taught.
Yeah.
And then there was this running around, climbing trees, falling off trees.
Much more fun. Although, honestly, by now I quite know how to enjoy a good story. And when I think also about the travel logs we have, those are really interesting things. So, well, but as a child, you are dumb in a way. You just don't know.
You just don't know what... Well, I suppose you did know what mattered. Because you did what your father wanted. You did what you wanted.
Although I think he would have been happy if I would have taken a bit more effort in reading and writing.
Well, apparently that's what I was supposed to help you with. Why else do you think he let me stay with you?
Well, then it was probably good that I didn't improve, because then he would have sent you away.
That's a possibility.
Then it all went as planned. My master plan that I didn't even know I had.
Your master plan worked, yes.
Worked.
Yes. But I think maybe this is a story that we could read to the children. Instead of the one that I chose, maybe we should choose this one.
It's shorter.
It's shorter, yes, it is. And to be quite honest, I really like doing the troll.
Then read it. It's a nice story.
And we'll read Three Billy Goats Gruff to the children.
And when they improve on reading, maybe they can start reading like a passage in turns, that everyone is participating in the story. Honestly, not in the beginning now. I'm quite sure they will not be ready for this, but bit by bit.
And it's short enough that I can copy it.
Or we hand around the book.
But I think it would be nice for them to have at least a copy of something, because I'm pretty sure that there isn't I'm pretty sure we are the library of the village.
Probably. I'm looking around and we have quite a few books.
Yeah, well, she did take a couple more. I think she took 7 or something, but yeah. And and then it's late in the day now, and then you have dinner, and then she says, yeah, we will also need to go into the village when we do the teaching. We will also need to go into the village and get some more firewood.
Yep.
And we need to bring the horses, and we need to maybe we can trade for something.
I'm sure by then we will have a few more rabbits we can trade.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So yeah, she does pray, but she prays. You can feel that she is a lot less anxious.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ask her if the goddess has responded?
No.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I will leave. I don't want to pressure that, and I don't want to have her focused on that. This is important.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay, so what do you do? Do you do anything special that evening?
On the evening, I would probably pull out the maps that we have. Just having, again, a look and a snoop around. Just going through names of towns that are in there. Or villages, whatever is in there. Just trying to really memorize the map and the layout.
Yeah. So essentially there are a couple of... it is not that densely populated.
Yeah.
But the towns that are... it doesn't really say how big they are, but they are names that you have not really heard before. The one that is closest to... Well, the town that is closest is called... interestingly enough, Dunanol, which translates as the castle of the foreigners or the strangers, whoever they may be. That would be about, you guess, because You can. It does have a legend, and there's a scale that tells you how far things are, and you can work this out,
Mm-hmm.
because you are. That is something that you can do.
Yeah.
And even that one is about 100 miles away from Dunleven Hall. And that would be the first town that you would come upon traveling, because you're trying to go south. First, you have to go east,
A
and then
bit
you have to
east
go
and then
south.
south.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And interestingly enough, there is no indication what kind of clan this would be. So, because there is no clan of the Gauls, there is no clan of strangers. So, Dunanol, you have no idea why this is called it. But then below that is MacGregor country,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's actually uh, Dunan Regal. So they're called Regal in Gaelic. So that would be their castle, or township of the MacGregors.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's see if you know anything about the MacGregor clan.
They're close enough that we would have contact with them.
Yeah, but you really don't. On a 3, you know
No.
nothing. You know the name,
I heard
but
the
they would.
name, but
Yeah, but they would have been too distant even to travel to your place, and they weren't even amongst the clans that would have been invited to your taking the mantle ceremony,
mm-hmm.
which went so badly wrong.
No, it went
Um,
as planned.
it went as planned, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, and so essentially, you have a good idea. The one thing that you have heard of is the infamous Forest of the Hags.
Mm-hmm.
You're not quite sure if the stuff that you were told by your nurse, or that you as children, because Siobhan would have been around as well, by your nurse, were just stories, or if there really are giant spiders, and if there really are lots of witches. But essentially, you'll have to go through there if you want to go to your mother's place.
Okay.
And there is no place names in there. It's just the Forest of the Hags.
Well, that will be an adventure.
As you say, do you say this out loud?
Yeah. Just
and,
having my finger probably right.
And Siobhan is like, what would be an adventure? And in the middle of the sentence, she's like, oh.
I'm afraid if we want to go to see where my mother was born and grew up, we have to get through there. I honestly hope the stories they told us as children were only to keep us away from forests and to scare us off.
Yeah, because we know that the stories they told us about demons were definitely not true, because, hey, demons don't exist, right?
Well, they do, but honestly, they're a bit different than what they told us.
Well, I mean, I don't know the first thing about this forest, but I do know that witches are real, and I know that they are very, very dangerous. But then again, so are you, and you look it. And
Maybe
she
we
points
can
to her
just
right eye.
find a way of, you will not hurt us and I will not hurt you. We were just traveling by. Goodbye.
How about I chain you, and if they come to us, I say, if you put a finger on me, I will let her loose?
We can try that as a plan B.
And you just need to look really fierce. Not that you need to try hard.
I will figure out something. I can just
by the way,
yell at them in a language that I make up that they don't understand.
yes, it would also make you sound completely crazy, which would probably do the trick. By the way, do you want an eye patch?
No.
You don't need one, but just in case.
The question is this too scary for the kids and the village people?
Vari wasn't scared.
She's scared of nothing, so she doesn't count. I think I would like to have one at least for some occasions, So if it's not bothering you when I'm around here, I wouldn't wear it. And when we're traveling, I would probably keep it off, except maybe when we go into a town. Because it's taking it... It's still visible, obviously, but it doesn't look as gruesome because you can't really see what is below.
Yeah, it doesn't look gruesome. Not to me, anyway.
So, goal for the next day is making an eye patch out of wheat.
Well,
Well,
we've
we
got
have some
plenty
leather.
of leather.
Yeah. Also from the wolf pelt, I'm thinking about to maybe make... I don't know. I'm not sure if I can get a whole coat out of it. But for our little smart boy, that he's staying warm when he's exploring outside. Or we find a way that all of the kids get a piece. Because they're also part of the village and they will be great, important people when they grow up.
That is an interesting thought.
And a wolf pelt is something not everyone has.
No.
We'll think about it. It's not...
Yeah.
We don't have to decide now.
And also, have you thought about making a sheath for your new ski and boot? Because it doesn't have one. And I don't know if you want to really carry an open blade on your body.
No, I don't. I think I will use some leather off the rabbits to make...
Yeah, that's what I meant.
One. Yeah.
To make a leather sheath.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got your work cut out for you for the next couple of days.
Well, you can help. It's not that hard to work with leather.
You know that I have 2 left hands.
The question is, do you want to try and learn?
Do you want me to go and destroy your hard-earned leather?
I would not ask if I would not be willing to.
Well, in that case, I suppose we've got a deal.
Good.
All right.
Then we will learn winter for learning. Learning to relax, learning to breathe and be one with nature. No, I'm not one with nature. We are not going that far.
No, you are not one with nature in any shape or form.
Learning to read, learning to teach.
Yes.
Learning to work on leather.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Then let's do that.
It gives me the chance to sing one of the working songs that I learned as a child.
Your singing is definitely much nicer to listen to than mine, so I will enjoy
and Percy
that.
conquers. And yeah, so you basically have a good plan for the next couple of days, which is really going to keep you inside or outside if you like, but it's going to be really chill. So that's really good. I mean, oh God, I mean,
the only thing in between, as soon as I feel fit enough, she will definitely tell Siobhan that if she's not yelling murder like you will die when you move too much, she would definitely for a few hours go to the village and do some wood chopping and helping for Vari.
She's very chill about it.
Okay.
She says, okay, I will only say this once, please be careful. It's the first time you'll be splitting wood with only one eye.
I promise I will not hurt myself.
I appreciate that.
And that would be just a little in between. And and over the next I would work on the eye patch.
Okay, so you get 2 rabbits, she gets none. So each of you set up 2 snares, she got none, and you got 2 rabbits.
And we had 2 from the last time we were out, so...
Yeah. So you have plenty of leather even for your own, like doing the stuff.
Yeah.
So it's time to go to the lake and be one with nature.
Then let's give it a go. And I will try some fishing, because some fish might also be a good idea if we can catch 1 or 2.
All right, so you go there. You basically go out onto the lake again. You make a little hole. She sits down next to you. How do you teach her not to fidget and to stop thinking?
Well, first of all, I will tell her you need to find a way where you're comfy to sit.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will just listen around and I will point out things to her that she should just focus on, like the
Mm-hmm.
bird far away that is tweeting there, just to
Mm-hmm.
listen to their song.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something for the ears to focus on. And then for the water, just showing if the sunlight is twinkling, just following with the eyes, just following the light and trying to see maybe
Mm-hmm.
some forms in there. And the most
Okay.
important part, breathe in, breathe out, and just see how it goes. And if it's not working for the first time, it's just a first try.
She rolled a 19. Even with somebody as her who's got really low willpower, that is a success because her willpower is 28. So she is managing to keep it together for about, you would say, 20 minutes. After that, but you notice that it's actually working. So she is kind of breathing in and out, and she does do something which is very rare for her. Her body becomes still.
Yeah.
Which is something that isn't usual because she's always doing something, writing, turning pages, fiddling, that kind of thing, but she doesn't. She is absolutely still for 20 minutes flat. And then you notice that she is it's almost like she's losing concentration, or something. And she looks at you and she says, I think for a moment there I did it.
Well, for a longer moment than you think. That's a good start. And now stand up and stretch because you've sitting down for a while.
She does, as she's told. She stands up, she stretches. And she basically said, is it okay if I go back to the shore? Or will that disturb the fish?
No.
So she goes back to the shore, and she doesn't leave. She's just going back to the shore to walk around some more, because she has noticed, or she has learned from you, that if you're trying to ice fish and somebody keeps walking around on the ice, that actually does disturb the fish. And she walks up and down, and she looks around, and then she does come back after 20 minutes or so, and she sits down next to you again, and she tries again. This time she doesn't ask for guidance. She just looks for things to look at, patterns in the water. She starts listening. You can hear it. This time probably it was too much, maybe really shorter periods of time and not too many in one go. She can't concentrate, but she is quiet enough for you to fish. Let's see if you catch anything.
Should I roll?
You can try. I rolled on your luck. You did catch something.
Okay.
On a 48, yeah. Because you can also use Tierkunde, I suppose.
Would it be survival?
Or survival.
I think it's survival, probably more.
Yeah, probably knowledge. Animals is more like, are there fish, and if so, are they edible? Yeah.
I see the fish, but it jumps off the hook the last second, and off it goes.
Hate when that happens. And yeah, and after a good few hours, I mean, because you do take your time, but after about another 20 minutes, she pulls out a book.
I think I would not make it too long. I will just try for a bit, and then I will be like, I can try another day. They are not going anywhere. The lake is there, and they can't leave.
So, that is true. Are you sure?
Yes. Let's keep on moving, one bit by bit.
And you go back to the house, and she basically, today she's going to fry the rabbit instead of having stew all the time, because that does get old after a while. And then she says, well, so if you want to go into town tomorrow, into the village, and do some wood chopping, that would be fine.
Yep.
You'll be fine, I'm pretty sure.
Then let's do that.
And you wake up the next morning, you get ready, you go into the village, and you see someone coming towards you. I mean, you're alone. She's not coming
Mm-hmm.
with you. She's going to do some stuff around the house. It's Sean Oak.
I will wave with a friendly smile and carefully move on towards him.
He waves back at you and he walks past towards your house.
Sean, can I help you? When he just walks by me.
He turns around and he says, I don't think you can help me. I'm here to speak to the sister. Is she in? I mean, she's not with you.
Might be that she's out about. Give it a try and knock on the door.
I will.
I'll let him go, but honestly, she will turn around and follow him.
Okay, so try and be... do you want to be stealthy or do you want to let him know that you're following him?
I think she wants to be stealthy.
Okay, then try.
She will keep some distance, and but she is not really trusting him.
Mm-hmm.
So, what would it be? Would it be Schleichen?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not good in that, but let's give it a go. No.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, he does notice that you're there. And then he stops and he turns around and he says, are you following me?
Just move on. I forgot something. I will just grab something from the stables.
All right. And he keeps going. And then he lets you walk past him because you wanted to go to the stables. And he waits.
I will not walk. I would walk with him, and I would try to do then some small talk.
Like, oh, very nice.
Just asking if he heard anything from Lina and if she settled well.
I haven't had word, but I'm supposed to go there tomorrow.
Would you mind to give her greetings from us both?
Of course.
Thank you.
And then you get to the door. Do you wait for him to knock, or what do you do?
I will just go the way towards the stables and just bow down and rummage around for nothing, but still do, and let him do whatever he wants to do.
You hear him knock. You hear the door open. And you hear Siobhan and you hear his voice, but you can't make them out. And
would I at least tone-wise would I have the feeling if he's
it's just quiet.
It's quietly
It's quiet.
talking. That's all she's more worried that he's getting loud and aggressive on whatever kind of late reaction
moment, anyway.
to what we did.
And as you walk back to the village, so basically around the house back to the village, or do you stay where you are?
I would wait for around 5 minutes before I would have the feeling that this will not escalate.
At the moment, it's all quiet, even after 5 minutes.
Then I will walk towards the village.
Okay, so you walk back towards the village. You arrive. You go to Vari's place. Vari, of course, first takes you in. Dougal slobbers you. You get some tea, and then she asks you to chop some wood for her. Do you do anything else?
No, that would be all I would do. Okay. I would help her, and then I would go back home.
You arrive home. You open the door.
Yep.
Siobhan is inside. Sean was here.
I know.
Oh yes, you must have met him on the way to the village.
Well, I honestly followed him back for a while to at least see if he's here to murder you or if he just wanted to talk, but he seemed calm. So...
Oh, he's not calm. I mean, he's not aggressive, but he's not calm.
Okay.
He honestly believes that the gods have forsaken him. He is very, very lonely.
Well, he decided
he was in tears.
Everything that happened, he did to himself.
I know. And you know. But
and
that's not...
The thing is, he knows probably as well, which doesn't make it easier. Yeah.
Yeah. But in my line of work, I can't push that point.
I understand. He said he will visit Lina tomorrow.
I don't think he will.
Why not?
He was supposed to go. He's afraid.
Why?
He's afraid of what she will say to him. I mean, not that I blame her if she said anything terrible to him. He's afraid.
But she will be more angry if he's not showing up because it shows that he has no interest in her.
I was telling him the same thing.
So Sean needs a job that keeps him busy and in contact with people.
Yes.
It's honestly probably a stupid idea. Why don't we grab him tomorrow and go out with him together?
I think that's a marvelous idea.
Because honestly, I would love to see Lina and just see how she's doing and say hello. And then he can decide if he wants to stay there or if he wants to go back with us in the evening.
Yeah. I mean, we would have to spend the night in one of in the hut halfway there, but I think it would be good if you know, I think that he can be redeemed. He's ready.
Well, everyone can change how they behaved in the past. And he's starting in a good way, helping Barry, and he's friendly and calm. Is the right direction.
He's also not drinking anymore, he told me.
Which explains probably why he's calm and friendly.
Yeah.
You have to work for people and probably also gods to trust you again.
I think he has understood that. I still think that there is something that he's not telling me. I believe it's to do with the death of his wife. Whatever happened there.
Well, when he's ready, he will talk about it or not. Then, tomorrow morning, we will show up at his place. I'll go back to the village and see if we can rent a cart just from someone, because at the moment most of the people don't need them.
You could talk to Alistair. He's got a cart because that's what he uses to ferry his thatch around, and I'm pretty sure that he won't be needing it, and if we just give him some leather, he'll be happy.
Yeah, or if he needs help for just work out there carrying stuff around or whatever. And Percy is fine just in pulling us. And I can even use Storm. You two can be in the cart and I will have Storm. And
yeah, that's a good idea.
Be quite quickly to move
and the
on.
two of them would get a lot of exercise, which they
need movement, both of them. They are getting a bit twitchy like you are. I think they really need...
Excuse me? Well, yes, I am twitchy.
You are usually not the one just sitting down for hours not moving.
No, I leave that to you. I leave that to you, my dear.
It's just the lazy part of me that is very strong.
It's interesting. Somebody calls you patient. You turn this around immediately and say it's stubborn. Somebody says you have the beautiful ability to basically calm down completely, and you call it laziness.
Just the way you see it. And
yes,
isn't it a different point of view?
It's just a different point of view.
So we will Pack the old Sean in.
Maybe you should also stop by his place and tell him that we will be there so that he does get ready.
Yes, but I will not ask him if he's okay with it. I will just
No,
state
you will
that we
just
are
tell him.
there to pick up because I would love to see his daughter. And you would like to check in as well, because we
I
know
would.
she is expecting what she doesn't know, but at least then we can be
And
sure
he
to double
doesn't
check
know,
if she's
so we
fine.
will. Yeah, we will. We will see. I mean, it's
We
been a
officially
while.
don't know, because if we
No,
know,
and he
he
doesn't know
knows
either,
that.
even unofficially.
Yeah, so. But I guess by now, when we get there, she can't hide it, so.
No, she can't.
Which means he's becoming a grandfather, which he can easily start fresh and be a good grandfather.
Yeah, as long as he stays away from the fire, water, it will be fine, I assume. And you are right. We should try and find a job for him, something that he can apply himself to.
The question if you are starting to teach the children how to read, maybe he should start teaching the children how to fish. He fish quite well.
That's a good
Or
idea.
how to set up snares if they don't even know. I'm quite sure most of them know how to set up snares, because that is something the kids learn quite quickly. Just to play pranks on themselves.
You wouldn't know anything about that now, would you?
At least now in winter time. I think when spring comes, there's much more chance that he can just help others.
It's a really good idea. It's a really good idea. Yeah.
And honestly, I think if Lina learns how he's behaving now in the village, it will help her to slowly maybe trust him, at least from now on, a bit. Because based on what happened, I would probably send him to hell and say I never want to see you again. So I get why he's worried and afraid.
Yeah. And you know all about sending people to hell, don't you?
Well, if I know how that would work really, there would be some demons I would like to send there that I can never come back. But okay.
Yeah, it's their home dimension, as they say.
I know. Oh well, then I will grab Storm. I will just ride because it's quicker. And then, well, we will have some traveling.
Yeah. Alistair is happy to rent you his cart.
Cool.
In exchange, actually, this time round, he would prefer you to go out with him to cut some reed.
Yeah.
Because he says it's hard work. But it's also lonely work because nobody else wants to do it. And if you could spare a day, he would be more than happy to rent you the cart for however long you need it. And when you speak, you go to Sean and tell him.
Yeah. I will just knock. If he's outside, I will just talk to him or knock at his door.
He's actually clearing away snow from his path to his house. It's you. I didn't do anything to the sister.
I know. She was quite calm and relaxed, which is not her usual state at the moment. So,
he doesn't know how to take this.
Two things. We will be tomorrow morning in front of your door, pick you up, and we will go and visit Lina. Because honestly, I'm curious to see her because I miss her a little bit. And let's do the travel together. Since you said you wanted to go, let's do it together. It's safer on the roads anyhow if we are 3 people. I already organized a cart. We have 2 horses. And let's just go.
Are you sure?
I would not offer it if I wasn't sure. As I said, in a short time, I met your daughter. She grew to our heart. She's a friend. And I'm really curious how she's doing because her husband made quite a nice impression. And I hope it is really the nice impression that we have. And I think in a way she will be really happy to see you.
Well, of course. I and the sister is coming as well.
Well, yes, she is also friends with Lina.
I don't doubt that, but I'm a bit overwhelmed. But yes.
Honestly, also our horses need some movement. They're going crazy in the stables, just standing around all winter.
I see. Well then, tomorrow morning,
Yeah, and
I will wait for you.
perfect. And another just tiny question. We are starting to teach the children around here some stuff because it's wintertime. They're stuck at home and
Yes, they
going on
talk
the
about
nerves.
nothing else. Apparently, she's teaching them how to read and write.
Yeah, I'm getting a refresh myself. But we were thinking that maybe there are a few other things that, next to just sitting over things, learning words, some practical things that we could teach them. And it's a question, we are still looking for someone who would be willing to help. You know how to fish, if I remember right, quite well. A lot of the
He
kids
kind of looks to the ground.
A lot of kids have no idea how to fish, especially in winter. They know in summertime that you just throw it in the water and something might bite, but in winter they would have no idea how to get to the fish. And I think everything that we can teach them to survive out here will help them. And honestly, I think the parents are happy when we take the kids off their hands for a few hours. So just think about it. You don't have to say it now, but it
You're
would.
asking me to teach the children?
Well, you know how to do it. You had a child and brought her up quite well, so why shouldn't you be able to teach it to other children as well? Just think about it. You don't have to say now, we are not starting tomorrow, so just think about it if you would like to.
I will. You can tell that this conversation is not going in any way he was expecting this conversation. He didn't expect the conversation to happen in the first
At
place, but now
all,
this
but
is going like, whoa, who is this person?
Okay, then, well, as I said, don't worry too much because, well, I know it's scary to teach children. They can be quite evil and honest, but they're enjoying this quite nicely. And as
I
I
have
said,
2 spare
we could
fishing rods
see
that might actually work.
that, and I said a few more people willing to help fishing when they are old enough that they can go out on their own will definitely help the village. So, as I
He
said,
nods.
just think about it, but it would help us greatly because I don't see the sister standing out at the lake with the kids and showing them because she doesn't have the patience for fishing, I have to be honest.
Yes, she's
She has too much energy for that. She needs to do things, and fishing is patience and waiting, and not everyone is able to fish. I'm quite sure some of the children will not be right to fish because they will not be able to sit still for a minute, but I think a few of them will really enjoy this.
yeah, the sister didn't sit down for a single second while I was there, and she's always moving, you're right.
She has too much energy.
I find that small people usually do.
I never thought of it like that, but that's kind of true.
He's also quite tall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not as tall as you are, but still.
That is a wise. Yeah, that's true. The small ones I know are all kind of like, I have to move. I have energy. I need to do something with every breath I'm doing, not just sitting around. Okay, but then, yeah, we will be there tomorrow morning when sun is rising, and then let's hit the road.
And I will be here ready for you.
Perfect. Then I will see you tomorrow, and she will just get on Storm. We'll just wave, and we'll.
He lifts his hand and waves at you. Not like this, but
Yeah,
he
but
waves
just...
at you. Yeah.
And I will ride back home.
Yeah, and you arrive. As you walk in, you get Storm ready, and you walk in, and she is still working on the rabbit, and she's roasting it, and it's kind of like on a spit turning.
Mm-hmm.
So she has to sit there and turn it, which is probably her way of meditating because she can move.
And it's cooking. She has a lot of
And
patience
it's cooking.
with
She loves
cooking and
cooking.
baking. That's something she is really patient with because she knows that you can't speed it up. This is not working. So.
And you come back, and she says, "So how did it go?"
Well, I'm quite sure he was not expecting, but he will be ready tomorrow morning and will join us. And I asked him that we could use some help with teaching the kids a few good things, and if he would like to help us with some fishing. He was a bit weirded out in the beginning, but then I think it slowly started to settle. He already mentioned that he has two older fishing rods out there that he could use. I told him he can sleep over it. He doesn't have to decide now, but maybe it's a start.
She crosses her arms and she says, Ash, and there you were saying that, you can't really deal with people.
Well, I can just try. And it seems like he needs help. So let's try and give it to him and see if he makes the best out of it. At least he's willing.
I'm glad you're so forgiving. It's a good thing.
I'm not sure what happens if he slips and he starts drinking and does something that he shouldn't. I highly doubt I will forgive him again, but at least everyone should get a second chance.
I agree.
And he's trying at the moment. He's really trying.
And the goddess teaches us and a third and a fourth and a fifth chance.
I don't have the patience for that. That is then your forte. For me, it's one chance, and then I'm slowly out of believing that people
That's where
will
I'm
change.
stubborn. I will keep trying.
I'm not. Yeah, I will move on and say, have a nice life. I am concentrating on other people and things.
I guess there's a reason why you're not a priestess.
Oh yes. I would be the worst priestess out there ever. The gods would, all of them would just say, no, I don't want to be connected to her.
Well, this rabbit is going to take about an hour longer. Okay?
Fine.
So you have an hour to yourself to do whatever you like.
She will finish the eye patch and the knife. However it's called. Sheath. And because she had started to work on it, but I highly doubt it was finished, so she would focus on
it would take,
finishing.
because you also need to sew it, and
At least the eye patch would be priority one, because she doesn't want to scare everyone that we are visiting. And she would probably also just have a look on how big the wolf pelt is and try to figure out on how many kids do we have in school. Did we fix
8.
that? 8, okay. What to do with the leather that would work for 8 kids?
Well, I mean, the question is, do you want to use the leather or do you want to use the pelt with the leather?
Yeah, the pelt with the leather.
Okay, yeah.
Because just the leather would be boring because you can't see in the end. From
I was just
yeah,
thinking,
with the fur on it. So she will think about it. At the moment, she rested on the idea maybe small pouches might be an option, because kids always have some stuff they can carry around, or they can just have it because it looks cool.
I mean, the thing is, what you could make arguably would be sporrans. You know, those pouches that the men wear in front of their kilts?
We also have girls in there, don't we?
Yeah, but nobody really cares. You can give them one too. Yeah, it's like a pouch. It's like a pouch, and there's usually some pelt on it too.
I think
They're
that's
quite elaborate.
Yeah, the thing is that's probably too elaborate work for us.
But I mean, a pouch would definitely be a good thing.
But just a pouch that you can hang on your belt or something like that you can just put some tiny stuff in there.
And basically thread leather through it that you can pull it shut and then...
Pull it shut, or really make it like one strip that goes around and some sides that you can just buckle it up maybe with some kind of bone button or wood button.
Especially since you're asking, or Siobhan will be trying to help you, and of course she's got 2 left hands. Yeah. So it has to be something that she can do as well. Yeah, I agree. That
Because
sounds like a
it's
perfect
just a
plan.
long strip. You put it in a circle, you have outer parts, and then you have like a bit that is just opening the pouch. There's something like that, but she will, that is a project for when we return. Eye patch is priority one, and if she can work on the knife sheath, perfect.
Yeah.
And that would be all for now.
Okay. So we'll take 5 minutes and then we will come back with the next day. Okay, so basically it's the next morning. You wake up bright and early, and you get the horses ready. You go into the village, pick up the cart from Alistair, who's placed it outside, so that you just have to hitch Percy to it, essentially. And Percy, being the very calm horse that he is, has no problem. He's just, that's fine. You go to Sean Org's house. Sean Org is waiting outside. He's ready to go. He's packed. It looks like he's planning on staying. I mean, he's bringing stuff, and then he looks at Siobhan, and he hands her a package, and he says, "I thought you might get hungry." And she takes it. She says, "Well, thank you. We will share this tonight." And so you ride on Storm.
Yeah.
And yeah, so basically, the thing is that it's quite an easy journey. So there is not going to be, I mean, once you leave the village, there is the high road on the ridge, which is fairly good, considering that it leads essentially to the Badlands, where the weird people live, i.e. out of Alba. And also where there are orcs through the mountains, but no orcs have been seen around here in a very long time. And you travel, and the weather is clement. And every so often you see birds, mainly carrion eaters, but there is no circling where you can basically say, okay, well, maybe something died there. It's not like that at all. And then night falls, and you do know that there is one hut because you basically stayed there on your way back and on your way there to Dunlevin Hall. And you, it's really like it's more than a lean-to, so it's enclosed on 4 sides and has a roof. So basically, the 3 of you stay there the night, and Siobhan unpacks the package, and it is actually cake. So it's one of those Christmas cakes that we spoke about before, the hard ones. So apparently his daughter Lina baked one before she left. So it's a solstice cake. And she makes tea. And Sean is really... he's in a weird place because he didn't quite expect this. He doesn't really know what to say to Siobhan. You have noticed that there are several people who, not out of malice, but generally find it difficult to talk to her. Although she's quite a pleasant person, but probably maybe because she is holy.
She can be really scary if she likes to. I get
that. But he's more than happy to make conversation with you if you so choose.
I would try. Probably I would just pick his brain if he has any other ideas what we could teach the children, what would make sense, and not offend any parent, because I'm not a parent, I can't say. But I don't want to offer anything where the parents will be like, oh my god, what is she thinking? Because I will not show them how to fight. That would be something I could teach them, but I'm honestly quite sure the parents would be not happy about that.
Well, I suppose what we could also look into is teaching them what to do with leather.
That's a good idea.
Or how to get leather from a rabbit in the first place.
That would be... It would help the families as well if the children can just jump in and help. That's a good idea.
It's very useful.
I was also thinking about maybe asking our roof expert if he maybe at least wants to teach them.
Alistair.
on what to do with the wonderful stuff he is working with. Because honestly, I'm quite sure you can do more than just fixing and patching roofs.
He makes scarecrows.
See? That will be fun for the kids. I have I had no idea how to build a scarecrow. That might be fun for me even to learn.
And it's useful in summer.
That is something I will nod to Siobhan. We need to think about if we want to set up a crop field or not.
She nods. Yes, we should. It's a good idea.
And then I will just chit chat with him about what other spots he knows for fishing or also catching animals. Just trying to keep stress less, just an easygoing conversation about topics where he is not feeling
It works
uncomfortable
really well.
with.
He's very happy to share his knowledge, and he does know a couple of spots that you have not been to with regard to angling, and and he talks about, and the two of you basically talk shop, what kind of fish, and the one that I caught was this big, and that kind of thing. And Siobhan is every so often looking. I mean, she is. She's basically tending to the fire, and she didn't bring a book, but she is kind of minding her own business, keeping busy. But every so often she's looking from one of you to the other, and she's let's see. She is quite impressed with your performance, shall we say, because that's going really well. And so, but after a while, you guys also, you do get tired. It is now 9 o'clock. Sun's been down since about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and you do go to sleep because you do want to get up as early as possible tomorrow, so that at first light you can move, because you do want to reach the place sooner rather than later. And so everything works out beautifully. There's breakfast, and after, I would say, probably 3 to 4 hours, you have to take a turn south. And and this is a really spectacular scenery, because the path dips, and then you can see already on the sides the two, and this is really like two mountains that rise up from the lower ground before you, and the path narrows and basically leads through them. And then the path doesn't widen, but the mountains, basically, there's this almost like it's an oblong shaped lake in the middle, and the sun's beating down, and it's beautiful blue water. And those lakes because but this one is very evenly shaped, and that the water, seems to be, because, as I was saying earlier, it's so sheltered, the water hasn't frozen. And it is a lot more sheltered, and it's also, you would almost say it's a little bit warmer. And probably that's right, because you're not on the open ridge anymore. There is no wind coming in. And this is, if you were to go into that lake, it would be this freezing feeling, like your heart stops, because it's going to be so cold. But it is really beautiful, and there are trees, and a lot of them are shaped quite differently than the ones where you are, because since there is not this constant wind, they're not shaped like this, but they actually manage to grow tall. And it's almost like a microclimate, if you will. And and you can see the smoke rising from the chimneys, and you can see the first houses. And if you look really into the distance, you can also see a hall. It's not as grand as Dunleven Hall, because the clan itself is quite small, but you can see a wall structure, and you can see the tower rise up, and the wall around it. This wall, unlike Dunleven Hall, is not made of wood, but it is not made of stone. Dunleven Hall was completely enclosed in a stone wall. This is made of wood. But the fact that they have wood and would spend it on this, I mean, that's already showing money. And then, of course, behind that, you can see a stretch of bog, which is where they get their money from, because that's where they get their peat from. And yeah, it's there's just the one road, and it leads to the first house, to the second house, and then there's kind of like a congregation, and yeah, 40, 50 houses easily string along the road towards the lake.
I think before we ride in or when we start seeing it, I would just ask Sean, do you want to directly go and visit Lina, or do you want to first of all go to the master of this area? Not sure how close you are.
Um, on a 12, you would be able to give him advice.
Okay.
So you would probably tell him to go and introduce and to let the master at least know, the
No,
sire, that
that
there's
would
a
be the first thing.
visitor.
Yep, okay.
Mhm.
Then that would be.
Mhm. He, of course, doesn't really know, because this is kind of way beyond his station.
Okay.
So the fact that you tell him what to do, he's actually quite happy, because he doesn't realize how to do it. And you go to the hall,
Yeah.
as it were, of Clan Lachlan. And unlike your father's hall, there's no guards. It's less grand.
That's fine.
So it's basically just an open door. The door is open. But when you step inside, it does remind you of the hall itself, because there is, like, different buildings, and there are, like, ducks running around, geese running around, chickens, and there's and you can see where the kitchen is, because that's kind of like a house to the side, and it's a little bit like
Then probably I will just dwell in these memories for a minute, but then I will just keep eyes open if I can see any kind of person, employee, or whatever,
there
just to
are some
grab and stop.
people doing stuff. Some of them are tending to the horses, and some of them are just you know bustling about. Yeah.
Then
So
I
do you
would
grab
just,
one of them?
yeah, grab one of them
Mhm.
very nicely, just wishing them good day and just asking if the master himself is at home and if we could have a quick talk.
Who shall I say is calling?
And I will name Sean's name.
Okay. And he nods, and then he vanishes, and he comes back like almost instantaneously, and he says, "The sire is ready to see you now."
Thank you. And I will just grab Sean and Siobhan, but I will push Sean that he's like walking a step in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
And
He's you see that he's rubbing his hands on his kilt. He's obviously sweating, and this is not really his thing.
it's not Ashling's things either, but she can't put her name in because she doesn't have a name
No.
anymore. So
Yeah.
you'll be fine. Just stay while we're
Mm-hmm.
here, and we are here to accompany you because traveling alone is dangerous still out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think then we are good to go. Maybe they
Mm-hmm.
can also give us a hint where your daughter's living.
Mm-hmm. So he basically walks in, and in the main hall that you also know, so there's this long table, there is a seat at the end, it has the crest of the McLaughlins on it, and there is a man sitting there, and he is in his late 60s maybe, and there's a lady sitting next to him, who's not much younger. So the difference that is normal between, yeah.
Wait, before I go in, would this
Mm-hmm.
clan would be close enough with
MacDonald.
McDonald's so they would know what would have happened?
Roll a D100.
Because then she would be hesitant to go inside. Because she doesn't want to worsen this scenario for the poor Sean. 100.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. No, not a. I rolled a 41.
Okay, so you lucked out. They have not yet heard the news,
Okay.
but you don't know this, so what do you do?
I Then, one more question. I would not personally know the clan, right?
No.
So, okay, then I would still go in.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing would be like, oh god, they're regular visitors. They know me from childhood on, something like that. I would be like, I'm not going in there. But
No.
if I haven't met them before in
Mm-hmm.
person, then I would go inside and, well, try not to be visible is hard enough, but she will just
Yes, you succeed admirably not.
be like standing behind him, like he's the
And just
leader
towering
of the
half a
clan.
head over him is what could possibly
Well,
go wrong.
I can make myself a tiny bit smaller, looking down a bit. Also, I have my eye patch on.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to look more like a bodyguard. That's the main idea.
Siobhan looks at you puzzled.
I will just lean into her, just quietly whispering, they might know what happened at home.
She gives you a brief nod, and then she steps up and stands next to Sean because she put on her robes.
Oh, yeah, then even better. I will stand behind
Mm-hmm.
both of them, just playing the role of I am the one you pay when you travel and you want to be secure.
Yeah.
And let them do.
Yeah. And he introduces himself, and then they exchange brief words, and then unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you view things, their eyes turn to Siobhan, and they greet her as they should, considering that they're meeting a member of the clergy, and they get up. They even nod to her. So when she's introduced, they get up and they nod, and she nods back, and they say, "Mother," and she says, "No, sister. Sister is enough." And she, yeah, you know how she hates it. And then they explain to him where he can find his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And then they wish you a good day and a merry journey. And you're dismissed, essentially.
Then we will leave
Mm-hmm.
and go in the direction that we were pointed in.
Yeah, and you do, and you don't even need to get on the cart again because it's not that far away.
Mm-hmm.
So you just lead the horse. So Siobhan will lead the horse with the cart, and you arrive at the. Let's see if somebody's outside on a 36, considering that her luck is 35, but yours is 65. Yes, there is somebody outside. It's the man. It's Cullum. Cullum McLaughlin is standing outside, and he is chopping wood as you do. And Sean shouts. Well, he doesn't shout at him, but he shouts from far away so as not to startle him. And Colum looks up, and he is visibly not surprised, but there's it's not surprised, but it's kind of like nice, you know. And he smiles at him, and he opens the door and says quite loudly, "Lina, your father is here. He's arrived, and he's bringing guests. Oh, it's the mother." And
A giggle from Ashling on this.
Siobhan, it's sister. There is no temple. There is no temple. There is no temple.
They will learn. We will repeat that for them.
Yeah, and he arrives. You finally get there. Lina has stepped outside. Lina is visibly pregnant. And even Sean notices.
How does he react? Ashling will have a very close look on Sean because she's a bit afraid that he will go into old habits as soon as the daughter is around.
Why am I rolling a D100? On a 5, he is fine.
Good.
He you can see that he's trying to say something, but he doesn't really know. And then Siobhan is like, "Yes, she's pregnant. I can see it too. What you say is congratulations."
And you're looking forward to be a good grandfather.
Um, he steps towards her, and it's very awkward.
After all that happened, I can imagine.
It is super awkward, and then he basically raises his hands, he drops them by his side again, he turns to her husband, the two of them shake forearms, and he says, I suppose congratulations are in order, and he points towards her, and her husband is obviously over the moon and says, yes, yes. Yeah.
What a surprise! So quick. No.
He knows nothing. I mean, it's he obviously he probably doesn't know that much, and unless they have been really talking, and some of the old crones have been doing some reckoning with regard to how far along she is, nobody will ever know. And Siobhan steps next to Sean, and she says, "Oh, Lena, congratulations, and congratulations, Cullum." She's trying to lie. She's doing fine on a 10.
Ashling will just nod probably, and will also just. She would be tempted to give Lina a careful hug.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah,
and shake hands with Colum if he's willing to.
he is. Lina looks at your face, but she is fine. She doesn't. You can see that she notices, but she doesn't really react.
And then I will just look at the house. How's the house looking? Because Colum wanted to build it himself.
It is. It actually looks. It looks very good. I mean, it looks a lot like yours. So it's this long stretch of, like very low house. Obviously, no second story. It has a couple of windows to the front. There will probably not be any in the back because otherwise it's going to be a nightmare to heat. There's the door. And then you also notice that outside he has laid stones so that there's kind of like you have it as well. It's more like this garden thing where you can then grow stuff. And they've painted the door. So it's made of wood and they've given it some blue color. And so you know that this has probably happened by crushing some form of herb, like the blossoms of stuff that grows on the heath.
Yep.
And it looks nice. It's very tidy from the outside, and they ask you inside, obviously, and it's super tidy on the inside. So there is a freshly or newly made table made from wood. There are 3 chairs or 4 chairs actually. There is of course, since the chimney is kind of new, there isn't as much soot on it as there would be on yours because it is new and everything, and it looks really nice. It looks really nice. Spacious, but the normal size. Yeah.
If Sean is not mentioning anything about how it looks here, Ashling would be like, Colum, this looks amazing. You need to tell me a few things so I can improve my house.
What would you like to know? And he basically shows you around, and so the two of you start talking house. You leave Lina with Siobhan and Sean Og. And Ashling starts kind of like there is this silence between the two of them, and Ashling uses this as a very nice segue to talk mother to be. And talks about how is she feeling, morning sickness, blah blah blah, and Sean doesn't really know how to deal with all of this, so Sean walks out again, and you can hear him talk to the horses. And basically then at some point basically you see the house, and of course they do have rafters in the house as well, whereas you only have them in the stables, and you can see some stuff hanging from there. So he does have 2 rabbits hanging there, and he says, well, we I put the rafters in here for the game.
It's much nicer because we have that all outside, which is always a bit tricky with the weather, especially if it's wet
Mm.
outside. So I think
Yeah.
it's really
Yes, my father helped me build it. I mean, alone it would have taken a lot longer, but so we did it together, and I'm happy with it. And I think, and he kind of lowers his voice, I think Lina likes it.
she would be crazy if not, because this is like a castle, honestly, at least in my point of view.
Well,
It's really, really pretty. You can be proud of this.
I am kind of proud of it.
And honestly, since we don't know you that far, I'm really, really happy for Lina that she has such a beautiful place calling her home, especially now since you two are really creating a family. This is a
Yes.
wonderful place for a child to grow up.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the child.
And I'm honestly jealous that your lake is not even frozen. You have a
No, it
really
it,
nice
it hardly
climate
ever
here.
freezes.
And the
I mean,
trees are so much bigger than they are at our place because it seems like you don't have the massive wind that we have.
no, it's very calm.
It's,
It's very calm, and it does get quite hot in summer.
it's
I
really
mean,
refreshing.
we go swimming in the lake every year, and he points towards the lake. Ever
But
since I can remember one winter that was really, really bad. I mean, I hear that your river froze over. That was 10 years ago,
yeah,
thereabouts. I
yeah.
was just a lad. That's when a part of the lake was frozen, but only a part of it. But usually it never freezes at all. We can fish all year. Well, I suppose you fish as well, but you have to hammer
Yeah, we
and
need to be
make a hole.
more creative, and the fishes have more chances to hide if they're smart enough to stay away from holes above them. But
And he smiles.
still, the water needs to be freezing cold. I highly doubt at the moment taking a bath would be a fun thing in the lake.
No, I mean I wouldn't go there either in this weather. But yeah, I mean I like it here. It's a nice place. And I just hope that Lina will like it too. I mean, she says she likes it, but I really hope that she doesn't get too homesick.
I highly doubt that. This place is beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. And so you've come to visit. You said you would. I didn't expect to see you so soon, but of course you're more than welcome. We And you brought her father as well, so that's good. He didn't have to travel on his own.
Yeah, that was our main idea, that we weren't sure when to visit. We would have probably waited till spring, but since he mentioned that he was thinking about visiting you guys here, we were just like, you shouldn't be traveling alone. So let's do it together.
That was very, very good. Um, well,
I just hope we are not disturbing.
no, of course not.
Good.
You're almost our first guests from outside. I mean, I've had my family come, but nobody else has been here yet. So
That we
this
are
is
proud to be the first ones.
and a priestess as well.
But also, honestly, just between us, please don't call her mother. She doesn't have a temple, so she's a sister. That's completely how she feels comfortable with.
All right, I will remember that. I will remember that. I'm so
Thank
sorry.
you.
I didn't know
Don't
because
don't be sorry. You didn't know. It's not you didn't say anything evil. It's just for her. She feels more comfortable with being sister because she is not a mother in her way of thinking.
So will you ever build a temple in the village?
No.
So she will never be one. She will always stay the sister.
At least in the next years. I would not say it stays like that forever, because you never know what happens in years, but in the next, I don't think she's ready for that. Also,
She is young.
we are also still having some plans to travel, so
Where to?
south. My mother came from the south, and I'm honestly quite interested in where she came from. So that is at least an idea we're thinking about. Not sure when we will do it, but that might be something when, well, at least spring is in a bit and traveling is easier.
Yeah. But
That
I think
might be an
in
option.
about 2 months you should be fine.
Yeah, but for now, we're just having a new hobby. We are teaching the children in the village a few things, and the parents seem to be quite happy that we are keeping them busy for a few hours.
You're teaching the children, that's really good.
Yeah, they are at the moment learning how to read a few words because honestly, that will always be helpful. And we will teach them how to skin a rabbit and what to do with the leather, and show them some ice fishing because they don't know how to do that. Most of
And
them, at least.
who's teaching them?
Well, reading, obviously, pointing to the sister. And for fishing, Sean will help out definitely, and he also had the idea for the leather work. So we will see if we split that maybe. Although I think he's better in leather work than I am. And we have a few other adults that could show the children a few things here and there, like how to build a scarecrow that will also endure all spring, summer, and at least fall, best case also winter and the next year. And that might help the families and help them to start easier in their own life.
But that sounds perfect. That sounds really good.
Well, during winter you need to keep yourself busy, don't you? Because you
That
can't
is
do
true.
much. As soon as it's springtime, everyone is busy anyhow. But at the moment,
And learning is important. I mean, I don't read, I don't write, but you know, maybe I could talk to the father in the temple to see could he teach.
usually they are quite happy to teach to people who are willing to learn. And even if it's just for reading a few things like a map, that already is helping that you can read the names of the.
I will talk to him. I will talk to him. That's a very good idea.
Do that.
And at that moment, you hear Lina saying to the two of you, because
Mhm.
you are inside, but you're kind of like in a different area. Well, if you two are done, we could all sit down and eat.
Sure. So sorry.
And you sit down, and it's this time round, it's actually not rabbit stew, but it's fish. It's a fish, kind of like a bouillabaisse type,
Mhm.
so fish soup. And it's very nice, and it's carp, really nice, really nice. And and he says, well, yeah, I caught this myself. Like I said, I mean the lake. So yeah, and basically it's still not going to be dark for a long time. So probably another 2 hours, and then he says to you, well, I mean, I could, if you like, you and Sean could come with me, and we could do some angling.
I would just look at Sean.
And Sean nods. Yes, I would like that.
I
If you
am.
have a fishing rod, I didn't bring any. And he says, yeah, I've got spare fishing rods. So, and
I would probably look over to Siobhan if she would be okay with staying, because I'm not asking her to fish because I know that will not be something that will
she
happen.
nods to you. She says, just don't fall in.
I had my fair share of adventures. I am done for this winter.
Very good. And then she says, I don't know if she can swim, actually. She was terrible as a child.
I will kick her under the table.
Ow! You.
Don't tell stories that are not true. I will not drown out there if I fall in.
No, she won't drown. She will just give you a run for your money. And the three of you go away, go fishing.
Before
And
we
Siobhan.
leave, I would probably just grab Shimon for a second.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you step outside.
Just when you have some time with Lina, maybe mention the few good things that her father is trying to do. I'm also mentioning a few things to Colin, although I think he has not the baddest impression of her father, or he's acting quite well.
Yeah, I will. I will. It's going to be a little bit awkward between the two of them, but I am going to tell her.
At least that she maybe is willing to give him the chance. Although I totally understand if she doesn't. But there is a child on the way that would probably like a grandfather next to the one here.
I will talk to her.
Yeah, just like, and I will promise I will not go into the lake.
That's a good thing.
Good. Then I will see you in a bit, and then I will just rush and follow the two guys for fishing.
Yeah, you go fishing. You can make 2 survival rolls to see do you catch anything.
1 success, 1 18.
Excellent. You get 1 fish. It's a nice carp. Oh, it's an 18.
It's an 18
you get a point. Yeah,
and
it's a really nice carp. And then Column suggests that well, since you know he could smoke it for you overnight. That when you take it back, the next day, you have it as a ration.
Perfect.
And then the 3 of you return. Sean and his son-in-law are getting on quite well. So the 2 of them have a good conversation, and you get the feeling that Lina has not told him anything.
That was so far already the impression.
Yeah, because you would think that while he might forgive him for her sake or whatever, there is no indication even that he knows.
Yeah, because he would be more reserved in the beginning.
He would be a lot more reserved. But the 2 of them are getting on really well. And then there is evening falls. They return. You return, and then Lina and Siobhan have been preparing some dinner. And then Colum gets up and he comes back with a jar, and you can smell whiskey. And he says, well, so we should really celebrate that that the family is together. And he gets out glasses, or cups, and he fills them with whiskey. What do you do?
I will enjoy the whiskey bit by bit.
Yeah. Let's see how Sean fares. He rolled a 0-1. He has you notice that he doesn't drink. He pretends to drink, but he doesn't touch it. I mean, he basically does this, and he puts it down, and then he doesn't touch the jar for the rest of the evening, the cup for the rest of the evening.
Could Aisling, when her jar is empty, could try to do a bit of a sleight of hand thing, like distracting everyone, just like pointing out something like, hey, look and explain and see, and the moment the people are especially looking to switch out the cups with Sean, that it looks like he really drank. Although, wait. No, I wouldn't do that, because for his daughter, it's a good sign that he didn't drink. She would be happy to see that. So no, we will not touch that.
And then, the evening proceeds. Then there is storytelling. There is some singing. There is no dancing, so you're in luck. Little Siobhan is asked to give them a song, and she does it really well. Great. So basically, she sings a couple of, like the old faithfuls that everyone likes. And then it's time to go to bed. And they have made space for you. So basically, you will all be sleeping in front of so the 2 of you will be sleeping right next to the fireplace. Sean a little bit further away, because obviously you are the most honored guests. And then, basically, the next day breaks, there is breakfast, and the fish has been smoked. So Sean is going to stay for a couple more days. You go back.
Okay, then...
You take... And he says he will be... Because, obviously you brought him here, but he says he will be fine traveling back. And it is quite peaceful as well. You took care of the wolves. So... The 2 of you take the horses back, the cart back, and 2 days later you arrive home. You leave the cart with Alistair.
Mm-hmm. I will also talk with Alistair about the idea to teach
Mhm.
children a few things on how to work.
He is on board. He thinks it's a good idea. Because he also says that it's always that he doesn't have children, so nobody will take over from him. So if he kind of gets them interested, there might be someone,
Someone.
especially if there is a younger son or a younger daughter that will not inherit, that
Mm-hmm.
could take on the trade.
Yeah.
And he really likes the idea, and he says that you should just let him know, and if you could get a day's warning in advance that he has stuff prepared that he can show.
Yeah, sure. We also
um
need to figure out if the parents and everyone will be okay.
yeah. Yeah, and then the next day you two go to school, and Eowyn sees you for the first time. Are you wearing your eye patch?
I will wear my eye patch and I will just behave as usual, as if there would be nothing to look at and talk about.
Well, the kids do look at you, and you know how kids are. They are unabashed. They don't even pretend not to look. They look at you, and then one of them, it's not Eowyn, plucks up his courage, and he comes to you and he says, "What happened to your eye?"
I got into a fight with a big bad wolf.
And he turns around, he says, "She got into a fight with a big bad wolf." And everybody's like, and people are now, the kids are now sitting around you, facing you. And then Siobhan is standing behind them and it says, "Well, you can't stop there, Aisling. You can't stop there."
She will get some virtual daggers sent towards her. Well, it's not much to tell. We were out there, Seamus, Dougal, and Ranald was the last one. Because the wolves were getting closer to the village because they were probably hungry because it's quite cold and harsh out there. And weirdly enough, we could not really scare them off, so we got into a fight with them. And, well, generally we won. So a few people around here now have a wolf pelt or can do something with a wolf pelt. But a few of us got a bit hurt. But, well, that's what can happen, especially if you fight with a big wild animal. But the village is now safe again. So we managed to do what we were sent out to do.
And they pester you with questions. How many wolves? How big were they? Were you scared?
I will answer all of that honestly. So 7 wolves. One was quite big and nasty. And yes, I was scared, but I was not allowed to show it because if you show that you're frightened, you already lost. So you need to be brave if you have to face an animal like that.
So you never showed them that you were afraid. Wow, this is great. And then, but you know, the eye patch will come off and you will see again, right?
It will take a long, long time.
So you only have one eye now?
Yep.
Okay, so that is something that is kind of scary for them. And then basically after a while, the questions do die down, but you know, they're kind of, and then Siobhan says, "Well, after this story, I think we should be looking at a couple of very interesting words such as wolf and pelt and sword." And she basically starts teaching them wolf, pelt, sword, and she, you know, wolf and sword come first because they share several letters like W and O. Yeah, and then so basically a couple of words are taught, and the kids basically are then given other words that look like them to read. And then it's story time. She tells the story of Three Bitter Goats Gruff, obviously, and she likes doing the troll. And yeah, and then Eowyn has been quite quiet, and he has been looking at you every so often, kind of like from the side. And and as everybody walks away, they give a gift to the teacher again, and he hands out his scone, and he hands out a scone to you, and then he says, "Did it hurt?"
Yes. That's part of fighting. Always someone gets hurt. So you only fight when it's really, 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 really necessary.
Then he basically looks down at the ground, and he says, "I don't think I want to fight."
You don't have to fight. You might be someone who will be very good in fighting with words, because that is honestly the real master, to talk to people and not punch them. That is what the smart people do.
Or maybe I'm just a coward.
No, you're not. You're just smart boy, and no, fighting is not good. It will not help.
Well, you helped us. You made the village safe. I mean, if I had stood there and told the wolves no, I don't think that they would have gone away.
But from the whole village, not many were able to do that, because everyone has their role here in the world. Not everyone is a fighter. Not everyone is a smart one. Not everyone is tall. Not everyone is small. We are a good mix of people, so everyone can cover the little corner that the others cannot cover that well. You just need to find your corner. And honestly, I hope it's not fighting, because it's not as fun as it looks sometimes.
He nods, and he is quite thoughtful, and then he waves at you, and then he leaves. Well,
they loved the story. Well, your story.
They loved your story as well. I've always told you that you're a good storyteller.
Well, I didn't really try to make it too interesting, because I don't want them to get shabby ideas about running out fighting wolves is cool.
You did well.
Okay.
I think you made clear that it's not fun. And I mean, you were honest about your eye. And you were honest about that it hurts, and you were honest that you were afraid.
I think lying would be the worst case for the kids, because they get a completely wrong idea on how the world is.
Yeah, I know, but a lot of people don't, so I really appreciate it. But you know what? I've got this scone, and you've got one too. I think we should go home and eat them.
That sounds like a perfect plan.
And you walk back.
Yep.
And you have a scone. And there we shall leave it today.
Perfect.
So we ended on a high note with a scone.
Yes.
O hi mina morviena, o hi mina korviena, o hi mina karechen, hi mina skaren fojo, hi mi gondalan taches an trukuk mi, kerer oram feilches a chanen a hukas mi, jev mi an eigus gran rukim, nach rech ging tunich in or. O hi mina morviena, o hi mina korviena, o hi mina karechen, hi mina skaren foicho.